Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Hi. This is Angela Jordan Perry, and I am coming to you with Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. And so I'm excited about today. Of course, it's a new day. It's a new opportunity to connect and chat with some girlfriends. And our topic today is one that you not normally you hear connected with homeschooling, and it's just not a topic that you hear people talk about in general as it relates to homeschool. So we're going to go there today. So if you are joining me by Facebook, welcome. And if you are joining me by YouTube, I just hope that you will be able to see this live recording. Right now, it's showing me that you can't see it, so we will see what happened, but at least maybe you can hear me. If not, I will just hopefully load up the videotaping from Facebook onto the YouTube channel. So again, I'm Angela Jordan Perry with you at Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. I myself am a homeschooling mom of 8 children from the ages of 21 down to 5. 4 we birthed from my womb, 4 we adopted from the womb of my heart. And I'm excited again just to spend this time with you. It's something that's been near and dear on my heart. And we're going to go there and discuss that. So if you would like to join me and into the conversation, please do. I perceive that this video topic is going to go over maybe part 1, part 2, part 3, and maybe part 4 as well. So just a lot we can talk about on this subject. So our conversation today is racist homeschooling. I don't even care, quote unquote. Racist homeschooling, I don't even care, quote unquote. So hopefully that caught your attention and you got an idea where we're headed. Now, let me just give you a little bit of our family story and why this is just so near and dear of a subject and conversation to me. Personally, my family and I, we are originally from Virginia, and in the area that we're lived in, very transient area, and a lot of military, and quite honestly, it's an area that is known in my sphere of life in that area of Virginia for just races, mixing races, intermarrying, churches being very racially diverse. And, you know, I grew up in a church that was greatly racial diverse. Thank the Lord, it's beautiful. It had not always been that way. So it really morphed and transformed over the years, even from our leadership in our church, from the pastor down, deacons, elders, members, every race, I believe, is probably represented there by the time we left Virginia. And so it was nothing for my kids to, that was their life. That's who they intermingled with. And in their homeschooling, although we were pretty new to homeschooling at that time, we didn't have a lot of homeschooling friends that was of a lot of races, but their friends were of all races and ethnicities. And we had a lot of different families in and out of our home and friends in and out of our homes who were of different races. And we also lived in Spain for a period of time. So we always had this intermingling into our lives. And then when we moved here, to South Carolina here in 2005, oh my goodness, we just went back into the twilight zone. Honestly, honest truth, in 2005. And we just did not, we just didn't have, okay, let me just back up. 2005 coming to South Carolina was just, foreign to us. It was a foreign life, something that we were not used to. We went to a church. It was hard to find an interracial church, a racially diverse church. And when we're talking about homeschooling, let me just say it like that. When we started homeschooling in South Carolina, there was no other families that we knew off the bat that was even brown skin. So everyone, and so for the sake of this conversation, and I'll let you know, for our family, we refer to each other as brown skin, and we refer to others light skin or whatever. And we honestly don't like to even bring out colors because we are the only people in the world, really, I believe, that connect based on the color versus based on ethnicity. So African American or Caucasian. Okay. So, and there's many ethnic groups out there. So I won't go through but you understand, I'm just talking about all the different races. And so when we came to South Carolina, forget it. We started homeschooling, and I'm not even sure how we first got connected into the homeschooling life here. But it was definitely not a lot of brown skinned people. Absolutely, there were none that we knew of other than ourselves. And we were, blessed to have met one other family, and they were a biracial family, and they weren't even from South Carolina. They were new transplants to the area too, and they just happened to live right up the street from us. So here we met one other family, and their kids were much younger, but we connected. We were new to the area, new to the church, lived in the same neighborhood, and the husband was brown skinned, the mom was light skinned, and so we connected. And so my children had that connection. So the point of this topic again is racist homeschooling, quote unquote, I don't even care. And that may sound really cruel, but I want to let you know that if anything I say begin to offend you, or just does not sit well with you, or you're like, who does she think she is, or whatever, if that goes there with you, then, take an inner look and say, hey, why am I feeling this? What is these emotions that I'm feeling? The thing right off the bat, I want to just define this word racist to you, okay? Because everyone got a different definition. If we're not on the same playing field and understanding where we're coming from, then we're off course. So for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to explain the definition that I'm going to stand by or stand upon as far as racist is that one, an idea or mindset of superiority over another ethnic group or race. Okay. Number one. And two, racist, if you have that mindset, but you don't know it and don't identify it that way, and you don't intermingle or make sure that you're connecting with different races, and your kids are, and your family, your life is not connecting on that, then you might have some residue or be of racist stance. And so I'm just going to say it that way. So those are just the truth. If I am, for example, let me explain it like this. If I am a Christian, which I am a follower of Christ. I do not bite my tongue about that. That's who I am. And I don't work to have other Christians in my life, then you might question, that's weird. She's a Christian, but she doesn't connect with any Christians at all. So that might be questionable. If I am a female and I don't look to connect with other females, then you might question, that's kind of interesting. Where's she come from? So if you are of the human race, which we are that, and you don't connect with other races in general, then that's something to look at. And if you're homeschooling and your kids are not connected with other homeschoolers, in particular other homeschoolers of different race, the human race, humans, then, take some looks at that, look at that. And now I will be the first to admit that I'm bad at analogy. So I hope that analogy makes sense. But oftentimes as homeschoolers, we do trek along and we do our schooling and we get it done. But often also in our homeschooling, we don't plan to cross over to other ethnicities to connect our children into that, and to connecting with people outside of what they look like. Their social life is all of their same race. Their church life is most likely all of the same race. Their family is all of the same race. The things that they're involved in probably are all of the same race. And I'm going to just tell you, this is what I've observed in homeschooling these past 17 years, of which the last, 12 years, 17 years. Oh yeah, last 12 years. I'm sorry. Yeah. What is it? I've been here 17. So the last, I don't know, more than a decade of that time homeschooling has been in South Carolina. And that's what I have seen. Now, on the flip side of that, I've also seen where even myself, brown skin family, we had to work very, very hard to even introduce my kids to other homeschoolers of their same race. So in our home, we always had dinner and meals and friends and play dates with people of a different race, always, because that's what we were surrounded with. But then I had to take a look and say, man, I'm sure not making an effort to find relationships and introduce my kids to even their own race or Hispanic or Arabic or anything. I'm not going out of my way to make those connections for my kids. And so I had to take a look at my own self. Do you know that you could have a something, I don't know if you want to call it racist, but you can have that against your own race? Maybe there's a superiority thought processes that you have against your own race. I had to look at that and dissect that and think about, okay, what's going on here? Why is that not a priority for us? So let me just bring you up to speed. If you're on my Facebook Live or on YouTube Live right now, and if Facebook starts skipping, and you can't make out anything I'm saying, jump on over to the YouTube channel so that you can hear this discussion. Now, I'm going to say this is just an introduction to where we're going to go in these next 1, 2, 3, part 4, maybe 4 different discussions on racist homeschooling. I'm going to this is going to be just a bit of dialoguing and connecting and just getting out some thoughts and some feelings and connecting with you all and hear what you have to say on this subject, because it's a subject that's not talked about at homeschool, let alone are we talking about it much in churches, and let alone are we talking about it much in just everyday life. You know, it's this hushed little elephant that stays in the room. And so I'm going to bring it up here on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, because this is where this is what's going on, and this is where we are, and we need to talk about it and bring it to light. So you can definitely send me your thumbs up and your hearts if you connected with me on Facebook, and certainly go ahead and comment with me on YouTube, because I do have my chat open so we can talk about some things there. Okay, although you can't see me, you definitely should be able to hear me here on YouTube. All right, so racist homeschooling, and I don't even care, is the comment that the YouTube channel is Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. You'll find the channel there, and I'm live there, although right now it's showing me that it's not showing me the video that I can really see right now. But anyway, jump onto YouTube. If it's skipping a lot on Facebook, sometimes it does that, and it's a bit irritating. So anyway, so our conversation here is racist homeschooling, and I don't even care, okay? And where that comes from and how are we going to dissect this over the next few different videos that I'm going to do is that we are clearly saying we don't care in our homeschooling if we're not making an effort to connect on racial barriers, okay? So I was telling you about my story as starting homeschooling here in the state of South Carolina, and there was no brown-skinned people to be found. And then the light-skinned people that we had to, I say had to connect with, because that was all that was available to us then, and nothing wrong with that at all. But do you know, it was just like, it was really a lot of work trying to connect. It's found on Facebook. Okay, great. Thank you. It was a chore. It was hard for my kids to connect on a racial level with just the light-skinned people here. There was no, I think there was one Hispanic family we knew that was homeschooling in South Carolina at the time. And, but I don't know. All I can say, there was this sense of just being afraid of us, like we were just these foreign monsters from another planet. And that's all I can say how it was. And it honestly took years and years and years. I don't know, 4 or 5 years of homeschooling in this state before there was a sense of the other side really accepting and not feeling like we were the untouchable brown-skinned family and homeschooling. Granted, again, if we were not the only ones, maybe we were 1 or 2 or 3 at the time when we started homeschooling in the state of South Carolina. And my kids could feel the tension at the time, for them, they didn't know it was a racial tension that was there, but it was a tension. Kids just didn't know how to talk. Didn't know how to talk to us. They didn't know how to connect with us. We definitely weren't being invited to anyone's homes as homeschoolers. At that time, those who we did invite into our home, they weren't other homeschool families. They were people who we went to church with, just at least to connect with them. And so this I don't know the word is stigma, but there's just that was going in the homeschooling life here in our area of South Carolina, in the northern part of South Carolina. And maybe, the I don't care part of it is that they just didn't care. There was no desire to break or change and introduce anything different to their kids. Okay. So again, this is just my introduction to where we're going to be headed over these next part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, maybe topics of racist homeschooling and I don't care. So this is just getting pumping this well of this conversation. And if you know what I'm talking about, I love to give me some thumbs up. If you're coming from one viewpoint to another. I love to hear your thoughts and dialogue with me, and tell me if you have seen this to be the case, as whether you're brown skin homeschoolers and you have experienced this. There's just you're to yourself until you were able to search out some other brown skin families. That's where we were. And so as a result, let me see. I can see eyes is better or worse than homeschooling groups and faith and Christian. Subdued hurt in your eyes. Is this better or worse than homeschool groups of faith, the Christian stripe? All right. So good question. Thanks, Anthea. So her comment was, I can see the subdued hurt in your eyes. Is this better or worse in homeschool groups of faith or Christian stripes? I don't know what to say. I guess in my sphere of homeschooling here in this state of South Carolina, most of the homeschoolers that I was in the circle of here were of a Christian faith or background, but or churchgoers or something like that. I really don't know how to say if they were all Christians or what have you. But there was definitely this sense of, when you come to South Carolina anyway, let's back up, back in 2005, there was definitely this already racial divide. This is not a state I ever wanted to come to. It's not a state I ever wanted to live in. I didn't even want to live below Virginia because just the stigma of what the South means. So I didn't want to do that. But then anyway, the doors opened and it just was clear that we were supposed to come here and move to South Carolina and we're homeschoolers. Then we had to integrate into this social divide and then integrate into that within homeschooling as a whole in this racial divide. And for many years, we have just dealt with it and make do. And my slogan or my little thing that I say is that, most brown skinned people or anyone from a different race coming into something that's different, what do? You just suck it up and you keep on going. You just keep on going and make do. And so for many years, when we first moved here as homeschoolers, we just made do and we just kept going. And I can't say that out of the first 6, 7, 8 years or so, did we even feel welcomed. We felt, the word is tolerated. Tolerated means that, okay, you're going to be here, so we might as well just go ahead and make do, but not integrated into our lives where we want to grow in relationship with it. Let's see, I have felt it in the church, Bible study fellowship, and mobs. So, being homeschoolers, I'm talking from a homeschool platform, but being African-American or brown skin in faith, or maybe an African-American of just brown skin and skin color, excuse me, not in faith, but brown skin and your color, you have sensed that, especially in our state. So I'm coming again from the Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling. All of you are from different areas. So I'm just bringing awareness to this topic and saying, hey, let's open up and let's dialogue about it. It's happening. Whether you are brown skinned, whether you're Arabic, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're, light skinned, Caucasian, whether you're mixed, biracial, or what have you. It's a topic that we're not discussing and saying, hey, let's figure out how to homeschool together and make sure that our children connect. So this is just, like I said, the introduction of where we're headed. But let alone if you were of a biracial family, oh my goodness, and you're homeschooling, how does that fit in with where you are and where you live? Maybe, I think, Anthea, you're from, what was it, England, I believe you had mentioned. And so maybe the diversity is great there in your homeschooling, but for where we are, it's not. So, what is your experience, Anthea, as far as, and if I'm saying your name right, or Anthea, tell me your experience of homeschooling where you are. Are you finding it a racist homeschooling, and the idea of I don't care, we're just going to keep on trucking on and doing what we do, and I don't care if my kids ever have a relationship with anyone outside their race? Have you found this to be the case where you are in your part of the world? I'd love to hear from you about that. So we're going to talk about how to integrate, and you got to be purposeful. It has to be a conscious effort to break the status quo, to make the change. We're in this melting pot of races in our area where we live in this country. So why don't we see that so welcoming in our co-ops, or in our gyms, or in our ballet studio? Okay, goodness, that was big. In violin, whatever it is, in our step. These are all the things that we have been involved in over the years, and there's just wasn't this welcoming. It was really a tolerating in this homeschooling, in our homeschooling journey and our homeschooling life. And it is definitely a big thing to be tolerated versus to be accepted and integrated, and let's connect and mix in this homeschooling life. So again, this is kind of just opening the can a little bit of where we're going. My purpose is not to point fingers, but bring awareness and say, hey, do you have this attitude of I don't even care in my racist homeschooling? And by not making that effort to address these things and connect and invite into your home and into your life, into your sphere of homeschooling world, then you're actually are teaching your kids that maybe you do have a superiority attitude of other racists, or maybe you do have a racist mindset about things and you just don't recognize it. So this is what I want to bring awareness to, because we can go on day to day with homeschooling and our kids never even know. I tell you this, I remember when we were I can't remember where we were at, but it was a homeschooling event, and some children who are light-skinned children do with us, and they looked at us and my kids as if we were like, oh my goodness, what are they doing here? I mean, like they were literally scared of us. And I spoke, and then not to be returned as, hello, how are you doing, or anything like that. UK, that's where you're from. I have to put on my glasses to see. I take off my glasses so you won't have the reflection, but I put them on so I can read. Anthea says, I'm brown, yes, in UK, and we have mixed community, especially in the church. Census shows that fastest growing race in the UK is mixed race. My church has 30 nationalities. I'm married to, well, I affectionately call him a pale face. Okay. So that's beautiful. And I'm sure in different parts of the whole of homeschooling, there are some good relationships of connecting with different races, but there are a lot over the whole of homeschooling where there's not that connecting and intermingling and genuinely building relationships, and not just tolerating one another. We can do well to tolerate, but if we don't ever have a meal together, we don't ever sit down together, if my kids never have made a mistake and drunk after your kid, who wants to do that? But just, we don't have that fear complex against our for our kids in this homeschooling, then it's something to be looked at and considered, you know, from both sides, from all sides, different races. So again, thanks for Anthea. Thank you so much for bringing your thoughts to that. She's coming to us in UK, and I'm going to break this down into some specific focus subjects over the next so video recordings. I don't want this to be super long here, but we're going to go there, because you never change the status quo if you don't bring conversation to it, and if you don't get stirred up and challenged. And so this is where we're going to go for our Girlfriends' Guide over the next maybe at least 3 videotapings, 3 or 4 videotapings, okay? I want to hear your comments, your thoughts, some things that you have faced and dealt with that's been real and pertinent to you. The racist homeschooling, what does that look like in your mindset? And I'm going to uncover a lot more even in our own homeschooling and what that has looked like and where it has brought me back to now after years of being in this. Let's see. Yeah. So thank you for saying that too, Anthea. So yeah, it looks different, and I want to hear, let's talk about this racist homeschooling on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. So I want to encourage us in our homeschooling journey. I also want to bring awareness to things in our homeschooling journey. I want us to be able to get real, you know, over a cup of coffee and talk about these things and these subjects, and just, you know, I'm all about breaking the status quo. I really am, and challenging some things that has been set in place that's not always that way. And for those in different parts of in the country, in the world, that you know, are facing, you know, some racist homeschooling issues and concerns, whether legally, whether just going out and shopping and going out to the store and purchasing books or buying books from others, or just, you know, field trips. What is it that you're experiencing? Let's talk about it, and let's see if we can't bring some change and awareness to it in your neck of the woods. So let's see what Anthea says. I want to learn about what you have to say because I had a wake-up call on my encounters with home educators online. Oh my goodness, we're not going to even go there online. Oh, that's another part. How do you deal with that? So if you don't think it's real, then open up your eyes, and we're gonna show racist homeschooling and how real it is. And so as your girlfriend who's brown skinned, I'm going to show you a little bit of my life. And if you are of the different nationality other than being brown, I can't say African American because I have Jamaican friends here. I have people from Haiti, from, you know, Africa. So when I say brown skin, I'm talking about all of that plethora of people, and Hispanic. So oh my goodness, it's gonna get good. So y'all hang on in there. Our conversation is gonna get good over these next few days. And yes, we are gonna go there. We're gonna go there. So thanks for joining me for this introduction. It's just the introduction to let you know where we're going, and a little bit about my story, our family story, and some things that we're still plowing through and digging through and trying to plow through. We're determined. And it's our homeschooling life. I've been schooling for 17 years in the home, and I have 12 years more to go, 11 years if I can get him graduated sooner. So 11 years more to go. And whether the Lord will have us here in South Carolina much longer to do that, I don't know. But right now he does. But my kids have to go out to school in other places and live outside this world. And so we're going to talk about that, how to help your kids work through it, how to introduce your children to break that status quo, how to identify if you are racist and you're homeschooling. So we're going to go there. All right. So thank you for joining me. Give me some comments. Give me your thoughts. Tell me, Angela, let's go to this topic right here as it relates to racist homeschooling. So thank you for joining me on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. It's going to get real. It's going to get real close probably to many of us. So even to myself. All right. Talk to y'all later. And if you want to connect with me, be sure to subscribe with me on YouTube at Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, to all my Facebook friends there. Share the link get it out there. So when I go live, you're going to get notification that I am on here live. You can visit my website at www.uchunlimited.com. You can send me an email at homeschooling, excuse me, Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling. So it's gg2 at gmail.com. All right, so I'm Angela Jordan Perry. I'm looking forward to our next conversations, and it's going to be real, it's going to be raw, and it's just going to be truthful. So hopefully everyone can handle that. So take care, and thanks for joining me. Have a blessed day, and share the link. Someone else might just need to hear it and be connected with it. Take care. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.